Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Car Chat and Confessions. In this episode, I'm going to talk about another incident that happened while I was growing up in this physical abusive home with my mother and father. So, on this particular night, my father was attacking my mom, and I ran out the home, went to the neighbor's house, called the cops, and had the cops to come out. Well, they sent one officer, and that officer happened to be a woman. And so when she asked my father to step outside of the home, he came out, and originally he cooperated. Well, things took a turn. When she was trying to handcuff him, he started physically abusing her. He beat the officer. So much so that she was literally on the ground and he was able to run into the woods. Now, we were hiding behind the home because we know how my father could be. So at this time, once we see that he's resisting arrest and that he's probably going to get away from this officer, we dash and we are hiding behind the home. And so he goes into the woods and camps out there, and the officer calls for backup. So when she calls for backup, they send probably 8 or 9 officers, all in different cars. They come out. The yard was completely filled with cop cars. So again, a lot of times these incidents will take place at night. So imagine it being pitch black outside and then a yard full of cop cars, all the blue lights. That is what our yard looked like that night. So what ended up happening was they tried to find my dad, obviously, but he wasn't coming out of the woods. So then they sent the helicopter, and the helicopter came and just kind of like did a circle around a couple of times and was able to locate my dad. And so then the officers went in to the location and was able to get him and arrest him. So my father was charged with criminal domestic violence. And then he was also charged with assaulting a police officer. Well, the police officer charge ended up getting dropped. I'm not exactly sure why. But then he had to face the CDV charge, in which he just received probation. So I want to talk about the fact that as a child, it can be somewhat discouraging to see how easily people can get away with physical violence in the home. I've called the cops numerous times to our home, and my father was arrested at least 5 or 6 times, and each time he managed to either get away or just get off on probation. Now, some people would say, well, why did your mom, continue to tolerate this? And my mom, she tolerated it for 19 years. But I think it was important for her to, or I don't know if it was important, but I think it was more so the fact that my mom was a Christian woman. She was trying to make things work. But it just was not happening. My father again, he was addicted to drugs at the time and very, very abusive. So years later, after 19 years, my mom did divorce him. But in the meantime, we had to experience this physical violence in the home. And no matter how many times I would call the cops and they would come and arrest my father, he would just get off. It would be like just a slap on the wrist, so to speak. So you become a light sleeper as a child. When you're in this environment, it is hard for you to sleep at night. So you become this light sleeper because you never know when he's going to attack and when you're going to have to run to your neighbor's house to use the phone. Because obviously we wouldn't be able to use the phone in our home because he would just take the phone away. So we'd have to get out of the house as quickly as possible, get to the neighbor's house, call the cops, hope that they get there enough in time to just really stop the abuse and arrest him for that night, and he would just get out the next day. And so the reason why I'm sharing these stories is because I think it's important that, one, we start to talk about domestic violence in the home. It is scary the number of people who actually die from physical abuse in the home, where they didn't get out, or they thought that they could change the person, or whatever the case may be. That needs to stop. Whether it's the mother being abused or even the father sometimes is abused. Abuse should never happen in the home, especially around children. Children do not need to see that, because what ended up happening, just like in my case, and I can attest to this because my sister and I talk about this all the time, is that you never really forget those nights. You don't forget the things that you see. You just internalize those things, and it becomes an issue later on. And it causes PTSD. And so one of the things that I think I'm passionate about is that speaking up for children, because children, obviously there's nothing that they can do to stop the abuse in the home, but as adults we need to prioritize what we allow our children to see, because what happens is, again, they grow up and either they start being abusive, or they become a product of abuse, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. I think that it's important for us to make sure that if abuse is happening in a home and we are aware, that we do something about it. Do not wait years like my mom did to make the decision to leave. Get out as soon as you possibly can. Again, a lot of people do not make it. Okay, there's so many deaths due to violence in the home, criminal domestic violence. It is unreal. So my goal in this is to, one, help people who are experiencing this, and two, I too need to still heal from the things that I've experienced as a child, because I am still having nightmares to this day, and I'm ready to move past that. I'm ready to get past all of the anxiety of thinking about the things that I've experienced, and just get to a place of peace and love. So as I continue to share these stories, I hope that it will resonate with someone who's either experienced this, or hopefully you're not currently experiencing it, but if you are, I urge you to get out now. Do not wait. Do not allow your child to suffer and to see this. Get out now. If you have any questions or concerns, if you need any assistance, any help, please comment below, and I will do my best to find you any type of assistance that I possibly can, because again, it's important that you do what's right for yourself, but most importantly, do what's right for your children. Again, I'm sharing these stories so that I can heal, but if in this healing journey I can also help someone else, that will be the ultimate goal. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I hope that you will like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, God bless.